My girlfriend screamed, "Get out." Well, I brought up marriage after 5 years together. I said, "Gladly." Then I moved out that night and left behind the ring I'd been hiding for months, with a note saying, "Dodged a bullet." Her panic call started when her friend saw my engagement announcement 3 months later with, "I, 32 male, just did something that either makes me the most petty person on the planet or the most self-respecting. Probably both. I'm still processing it, so bear with me while I get this all out." Some background. I've been with my girlfriend for 5 years. We met at a friend's wedding, hit it off immediately, and moved in together after year 2. We built a life together. Shared apartment, shared friend group, shared Netflix account, shared everything except, apparently, a shared vision for the future. I work as a project manager for a construction company. Good salary, stable career, decent benefits. I'm not wealthy, but I'm comfortable and responsible with money. I've been saving for a house down payment for the past 3 years. And for the past 8 months, I've been saving for something else too. A ring. $6,200. Princess cut diamond. Simple white gold band because she always said she didn't like flashy jewelry. I did my research. I asked her friends subtle questions about what style she liked. I looked at her Pinterest boards. I thought I knew exactly what she wanted. Over the past year, though, I started noticing things. Little comments. Deflections. Whenever marriage came up at gatherings or in casual conversation with friends, she'd change the subject or make a dismissive joke. I figured she was just private about it. Some people don't like discussing relationship milestones publicly. I respected that. But last week, we were at her younger sister's engagement party. Her younger sister, who's been with her boyfriend for 18 months. And they're getting married next spring. On the drive home from the party, I brought it up casually. That was nice. They seemed really happy together. She was quiet, didn't respond. Made me think about us, I continued. We've been together longer than most of our friends who are married now. Maybe it's time we talked about our timeline, what we're building toward. She gripped the steering wheel tighter. Can we not do this right now? When can we do it then? Every time I try to bring up the future, you shut it down. Because I don't want to talk about it. Why not? After 5 years together, don't you think I deserve to at least know where this is going? That's when she snapped. I said I don't want to talk about it. God, why do you always have to push? Why can't you just be happy with what we have right now? Because what we have feels like it's standing still. I want to know if we're building towards something real or just existing in the same space. She pulled into our apartment complex parking lot and slammed the car into park harder than necessary. You want to know the truth? Fine. I don't know if I want to marry you. I don't know if I want to marry anyone. And honestly, I'm tired of you pressuring me every few months like there's something wrong with me for not being ready. Pressuring you? I've asked about our future maybe 3 or 4 times in 5 years. That's not pressure. Well, it feels like more. And honestly, I need space right now. I need you to stop making me feel like I'm failing some kind of relationship test. I'm not testing you. I'm asking a simple question about whether you see a future with me. She got out of the car, slammed the door, and walked toward our building without looking back. I followed her inside. As soon as we got through the front door of our apartment, she turned on me. You know what? Maybe we need a break. Maybe you need to figure out why you're so obsessed with a piece of paper that doesn't even mean anything. It means something to me. Then maybe we want different things from life. Do we? Because I've been pretty clear about what I want for years. You're the one who's been avoiding the conversation this whole time. She exploded. Get out. I can't do this right now. I need you to leave. Go stay with your brother or whoever. I can't even look at you right now. I stood there for a moment, processing. 5 years. 5 years of building something I thought was real. And she was screaming at me to leave because I asked about our future together. Okay, I said quietly. Okay, what? Okay, I'll leave. Gladly. She looked genuinely surprised, like she expected me to fight, to beg, to apologize for wanting a future with her. I didn't. I went to our bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag from the closet, started packing clothes, toiletries, my laptop, chargers. She followed me, suddenly less angry and more confused. What you doing? Leaving. Like you asked me to. I didn't mean forever. I just meant for tonight so we can cool off. I know what you meant, but I'm done. Done? You're breaking up with me over one argument? I'm breaking up with you because after 5 years, You can't even have a basic conversation about our future without screaming at me to get out. That's not one argument. That's a pattern I've been ignoring for too long. I finished packing. She was crying now, but honestly, I couldn't tell if it was real emotion or manipulation. After 5 years, I still couldn't tell the difference with her. That told me everything I needed to know about where we actually stood. Before I walked out the door, I did something petty. Maybe the pettiest thing I've ever done in my life. I went to my sock drawer, where I'd hidden the ring box for months. I took it out, placed it on the kitchen counter, and wrote a note on a piece of paper. Dodged a bullet. M. Then I walked out and didn't look back. She called me 14 times that night. I didn't answer a single one. The next morning, she texted asking if we could talk things through. I told her I'd be by to get the rest of my stuff on Saturday when she was at work. I crashed at my brother's place that week. Told him everything that happened. He said he'd never liked how she talked to me at family events anyway. Always dismissive. Always correcting me in front of people. Making little jokes at my expense. Things I'd normalized over 5 years because I thought that's just how relationships worked. Saturday came. I got my stuff from the apartment. The ring was still sitting on the counter, exactly where I'd left it with my note next to it. She texted me asking what it was, if it was real, if I was actually serious about proposing before I left. I didn't respond to any of it. That was 3 months ago. Now here's where it gets interesting. Last week, I posted an engagement announcement on social media. Not to my ex, to someone else entirely. I reconnected with a woman I knew from college about 6 weeks after the breakup. We'd always had chemistry back then, but the timing was never right. She'd been in a serious relationship when I started dating my ex. We lost touch over the years. She reached out when she saw my relationship status changed. We got coffee and talked for 3 hours straight. Then dinner the next week. Then we started spending every weekend together for 2 months. I know it's fast. I know. But when you spent 5 years with someone who made you feel like wanting commitment was a character flaw, and then you meet someone who talks about the future on date 3 like it's the most natural thing in the world. You know? I proposed last week at a small dinner with just the two of us. She said yes before I finished asking. We're not rushing the actual wedding. Thinking next fall gives us time to plan properly. But we both know what we want, and we're not afraid to say it out loud. Here's the thing, though. My ex's friend group overlaps significantly with mine. So when I posted the announcement, it got back to her within hours. My phone started blowing up. Text from her. Are you serious right now? You proposed to someone after 3 months? You couldn't even wait a year before moving on? This is clearly a rebound, and you're going to regret it. Text from her friends. This is so disrespectful to her. You're only doing this to hurt her. She's absolutely devastated. One friend even sent, she found a ring. She knows you were going to propose to her. How could you give that same ring to someone else? I didn't give it to someone else. I bought my fiancée her own ring. Different style. Different stone. A ruby because it's her birthstone. Completely new start. My ex's ring is still sitting in a drawer at my brother's house. I don't know what to do with it yet. Return it? Sell it? I'll figure out eventually. The calls and texts haven't stopped. My ex apparently told everyone I blindsided her and that she didn't know things were that serious. That I threw away 5 years over one argument. Funny how she's already rewriting what actually happened. I haven't responded to any of it. I'm too happy to engage with the drama. But part of me wonders if I should have handled the announcement differently. Posted it more quietly. Given her more time. Then I remember her screaming at me to get out because I dare to ask about her future. And I don't feel bad anymore. Update 1, 5 days later. Alright, y'all. Things have gotten messy, eh? I didn't expect the drama to escalate this far, but here we are. First, thank you to everyone who validated that I'm not crazy. Some people said moving on quickly was suspicious or that I must have been emotionally checked out before the breakup. Honestly, maybe I was. When someone deflects every serious conversation for years, you start building walls without even realizing it. So here's what's happened since my post. My ex reached out through every possible channel. When I didn't respond to texts, she tried calling repeatedly. When I didn't answer calls, she DM'd me on every platform. When I ignored all of that, she showed up at my brother's house. My brother's house, where I haven't even lived for over 2 months because I got my own apartment. She apparently stood on his porch for 20 minutes ringing the doorbell. My sister-in-law answered and told her I didn't live there anymore. My ex demanded to know my new address. My sister-in-law said it wasn't her place to share that information. My ex accused her of harboring me. Harboring? Like I'm some kind of fugitive she's hunting. My sister-in-law texted me afterward. Your ex is completely unhinged. She was crying and yelling about how you ruined her life. I told her to leave, or I was calling the police. She finally left, but said she'd find you eventually. That phrase made me genuinely uncomfortable. Find me eventually, like this was some kind of personal mission for her. The next day, she did find me. Not at my apartment, thankfully. At a restaurant where I was having dinner with my fiancé and two of our friends from college. She walked in, spotted us at our table, and made a beeline straight over. So this is her? She said, staring at my fiancé. This is the woman you threw away 5 years for? I stood up immediately. You need to leave right now. I need answers first. I need to understand how you could move on this fast. Were you cheating on me this whole time? No, I wasn't. Then how do you explain this situation? 3 months and you're already engaged? That's not normal behavior. My fiancé, bless her, stayed completely calm. I think you should listen to him and leave. This really isn't the place for this. My ex looked at her like she'd just been slapped across the face. Excuse me? I'm talking to MY boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, I corrected firmly. As of 3 months ago, when you screamed at me to get out of our apartment for asking about marriage. I didn't scream. I was upset. There's a difference. You told me to leave. I left. I genuinely don't know what else you expected to happen. I expected you to come back the next day. I expected you to apologize and work things out, not run off and propose to the first woman who showed you attention. The entire restaurant was staring at us now. Our friends looked mortified. My fiancée was still outwardly calm, but I could see her jaw tightening. I think you really need to go, I said firmly. Or what? You'll call the police on me too? Like your precious sister-in-law threatened? If I have to, absolutely yes. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she laughed. This bitter, hollow, unsettling laugh. You've changed. The man I dated would never be this cold to me. The man you dated waited 5 years for you to decide if you wanted a future with him. That man is gone now. She left after that, but not before turning to my friends and announcing that I was emotionally abusive and that she hoped my fiancé knew what she was getting into. My fiancé handled it perfectly. She said she'd trust me completely and that my ex's unhinged behavior told her everything she needed to know. But things got worse from there. My ex started reaching out to my family members. My parents. My brother again. Even my 72-year-old grandmother. She called my mom crying about how I'd abandoned her without warning and how she was completely blindsided by everything. She claimed she'd been planning to say yes to marriage when I asked properly and that I never gave her a real chance. My mom called me confused. She said you never actually proposed, that you just left a ring on the counter and walked out without any discussion. That's technically true, because she screamed at me to leave while I tried to talk about our future together. She said you were pressuring her constantly. Mom, I asked about our timeline after 5 years. That's not pressure. That's basic adult communication. My mom came around once I explained everything properly. But the fact that my ex was systematically calling my family members to plead her case was genuinely disturbing behavior. She also tried contacting my fiancé directly, found her on social media, and sent a long message. The message said, I think you should know what you're getting into with him. He doesn't communicate properly. He makes big life decisions without discussing them. He'll leave you the second things get hard, just like he did to me. You deserve to know who he really is before it's too late. My fiancé showed me the message, and we actually laughed about it together. Then she blocked her everywhere. But the thing that genuinely made me angry happened the next day. My ex contacted my workplace. She called the main office and asked to speak with me about a personal matter. When a receptionist said I was unavailable and in meetings, she left a message saying she needed to discuss shared assets and potential legal concerns. I don't have shared assets with her. Our apartment lease was entirely in her name. Our bank accounts were always completely separate. I don't owe her a single penny, but she was deliberately trying to make my workplace think there was some kind of legal issue brewing, trying to make me look problematic professionally. I had to talk to HR and explain the entire situation. They were understanding, but told me to handle my personal matters outside of work hours, as if I had any control over what she was doing. I'm not responding to any of this. I'm not engaging with the chaos. But it's genuinely exhausting being harassed by someone who literally told me to get out of her life. Update 2, 9 days later. Final update, because I think this is finally winding down after a chaotic couple weeks. After my last post, things escalated one more time before they got better. My ex apparently decided that if she couldn't get to me directly, she'd work through her mutual friends instead. She organized a gathering at her apartment. A casual get-together, she called it. She invited 6 people who were friends with both of us from over the years. I obviously wasn't invited, but one of those friends was actually more loyal to me than to her. He texted me beforehand with a warning. "Hey man, heads up. Your ex invited a bunch of us over tonight. Pretty sure she's trying to get everyone on her side officially. Thought you should know what's happening." I appreciated the warning, but didn't think too much of it. She could say whatever she wanted to our friends. The truth would come out eventually. It always does. Turns out, the gathering was less of a casual hangout and more of a trial. According to my friend who was there, she spent the entire evening systematically painting me as the villain of her life. I was emotionally unavailable. I was obsessed with marriage to an unhealthy degree. I abandoned her without any real warning. I flaunted my new relationship specifically to hurt her as revenge. She also brought up the ring dramatically, showed everyone photos of it sitting on the counter with my note, talked about how cruel and heartless it was to leave it there like that, how traumatizing it was to discover I'd been planning to propose while simultaneously walking out on her. Here's what she conveniently didn't mention, that she literally screamed at me to leave that night, that she said she didn't know if she wanted to marry me after 5 years together, that she called marriage a piece of paper that doesn't even mean anything. My friend pushed back during the gathering. He asked her directly why I left so suddenly that night. She said it was over a small disagreement about timing. He asked specifically if she'd told me to get out. She said, "Not seriously," and claimed I overreacted. But here's the thing about having friends who actually know you and pay attention. Some of them remember important things. Another friend at the gathering spoke up. She reminded everyone that a year ago, at a mutual friend's birthday dinner, someone had asked my ex about marriage, and my ex had said, and I quote, "I'm honestly not sure I ever want to get married. I really don't see the point of it." The room got quiet. My ex apparently tried to backtrack desperately, said she was joking or being hyperbolic or going through something difficult at the time. But the damage was already done. People started asking more pointed questions. Why exactly did she tell me to get out? Why did she say she didn't know if she wanted to marry anyone? Why was she acting like I'd completely blindsided her when she'd clearly been avoiding the marriage topic for years? She didn't have good answers for any of it. The gathering ended early with people leaving uncomfortable, and my friend texted me a full summary afterward. I think she was hoping we'd all rally behind her and take her side. It completely backfired. Most people left confused or kind of annoyed. One person even said maybe you actually had a valid point for leaving. Since that night, things have calmed down significantly. My ex stopped reaching out to me directly. I think she finally realized that her campaign to make me look like the bad guy wasn't actually working. When you have to individually explain your side of the story to everyone, and it still doesn't add up, people eventually notice the inconsistencies. She did make one more attempt to reach me. She sent a long email about 3 days ago. It was different from her previous angry messages. Less hostile, more sad, I guess. She said she'd been doing a lot of thinking and self-reflection, that she knew she'd handled things badly that night, that she didn't actually mean for me to leave permanently, that she was scared of commitment because of watching her parents' messy divorce growing up, and she'd been working through it internally without ever telling me. She said she wished I'd given her more time to figure herself out, that she was finally ready to have the honest conversation I'd been asking for, that she was willing to go to therapy, willing to work on her fears, willing to genuinely try. Then she asked if there was any chance we could start over. I didn't respond for 2 days, not because I was considering it, but because I needed to figure out exactly what to say. Finally, I wrote back. I appreciate you sharing all of this with me. I understand you're hurting, and I understand that commitment is genuinely scary for you. But here's the thing. You had 5 years to have this conversation with me honestly. You chose to avoid it, deflect it, dismiss it, and eventually scream at me when I try to bring it up directly. I can't build a future with someone who only wants to work on things after I've already walked away. I'm engaged now to someone else. I'm genuinely happy. I wish you well in your life, but there's nothing to go back to between us. Please stop contacting me, my family, and my fiancé. This is the last message I'll respond to. I hit send. Then I blocked her number, her email, and every social media account. That was 5 days ago. Since then, complete silence. Finally, my fiancé and I are doing great. We've officially started wedding planning. My family genuinely loves her. Her family genuinely loves me. Everything feels right in a way it never quite did before. I'm not going to pretend the past 3 months weren't chaotic and emotionally draining. They absolutely were. Finding out that your 5-year relationship could completely implode over one honest conversation is jarring. Realizing in hindsight how much you've been settling for is genuinely painful. Watching someone try to rewrite history in real time to make themselves the victim is frustrating beyond words. But I also learned something important through all of this. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. My ex showed me for years that she couldn't discuss the future without shutting down or deflecting. I kept hoping she'd eventually change on her own. She didn't. And when I finally decided to stop waiting around indefinitely, she acted like I was the one with the problem. The ring I bought for her is still sitting in a drawer at my brother's place. I'm going to sell it next week finally. Put the money toward our wedding fund. Seemed like a fitting end to that chapter. Some people will probably think I moved on too fast. Some people will think I was too harsh leaving the ring with that note. Some people will think I should have given her one more chance to figure herself out. But I spent 5 years giving chances. I'm completely done with that now. Thanks for following along through all of this. Sometimes the best revenge is simply being genuinely happy without someone who never truly appreciated what they had.